And welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news, takeover news, and transfer news update show. Marcel Sabitzer is injured again, out for the rest of the season. We've probably seen Sabitzer play in the Manchester United shirt for the last time. Injury prone, not particularly young, not been particularly impressive. 20 million as a bench player isn't that bad of an option, but if you can get Rabiot on as a free for a bench player and Sabitzer for 20 million, I'd still take Rabiot on a free over him. Not a big fan of that. But I will say there is reports coming in from a very, very good and reliable source that Qatar are actually preparing a $6 billion offer for Manchester United as of now. Now, this has come from a very, very good source. However, I will say this, we get a lot of information on takeover coming from very, very good sources, and they often retract that statement or go back on that and contradict that. I think with the takeover, even when stuff comes out with tier one sources, you just don't know, because at the end of the day, the non-disclosure agreements means that the Glazers are very much controlling the news that potentially comes out, and potentially Qatar could also be lying. Qatar could be putting news out that they're confident that their bid's going to be $6 billion, but actually they could also be lying to the media as well. There's all sorts of things you've got to remember, but we will get into that story. I do think the takeover is going to conclude soon, and I've said this for a while. If the Glazers really did prefer Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid, and if they decided 2.5 weeks ago they prefer Jim Ratcliffe's bid, why isn't Jim Ratcliffe in an exclusive stage yet? They decided 2.5 weeks ago, apparently, that Jim Ratcliffe is in pole position, but Jim Ratcliffe in the last 2.5 weeks has not gone into, an exclusive stage with the Glazers, which says to me, well, obviously Jim Ratcliffe isn't 100% the preferred bidder. The Glazers are clearly waiting for something to wait nearly 3 weeks until the final bids came in to make a decision, which could be they could have been waiting for the $6 billion offer from Qatar. We'll get into that as well. But the big story that came out today, and the main story I want to talk about, because I think the takeover news does get a bit on the boring side, is actually Kim Min Jae to Manchester United. Rumours that Kim Min Jae has agreed and decided to join Manchester United is kind of the news story coming in. Now, this has come out from an Italian outlet very close to Napoli. It's a tier 2 source, not a tier 1 source. But a lot of tier 1 sources have confirmed that United are in for Kim Min Jae, confirmed United have held talks with Kim Min Jae, and obviously a tier 1 source said the other day that, United presented their project to Kim Min Jae and he really liked the idea of it. So there's definitely some truth in this Kim Min Jae story, but the only thing that I don't believe about this Kim Min Jae story is it would be such a smart, sensible deal to do, and Man United don't do smart, sensible deals. Do you know what I mean? So there's lots of things, but let's get into the news as well. Please do smash that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. Alex says, hope we get Qatar, but seems they've left it a bit late to increase their bid. Been weeks that the Glazers could have picked a winner. Exactly, especially considering the news that they wanted to get on with the transfer window. I mean, the worst part about this takeover now is honestly just how it's going to affect our transfer window. Obviously, Kim Min Jae will be a release clause in July, but we might, by the way it's going, we might not even have new owners by July. Oh, honestly, and I can't believe that cheeky bastard Avram Glazer turned up at Wembley. I know I was ranting about it yesterday, Paul. I think, this guy actually, because the women's team's facilities are not good. Compared to Chelsea's women's team, the Man United women's team facilities are not good, and they want better facilities, the women's team. And, Smelly Abby, kind of, and Smelly Joel, they were like, oh, we don't care about the women's team. We'll give the women's team a crap pitch. We'll give the women's team crap facilities. They didn't care about the women's team. They don't care about the women's team. They don't even care about the men's team. And then they rock up to Wembley at a final acting like you care. It's like, really, like you literally. I bet you couldn't name more than 3 players. I bet if you asked, I don't even know if Abraham could name one United women's player. He'd probably say, "Oh, that's Ella Toon." Right? Can you name anyone else? Is that Ronaldo? No, it's a women's team. I think Ronaldo left, remember. I generally think that would be Avram Glazer, honestly, he's so stupid, it winds me up. Thank you very much for the super chat, Alice. Big fan from your content from IN. I'm assuming that's India, because some emojis don't come up on my screen. But big up for the super chat, really appreciate it. Keep smashing the likes, keep subscribing as well. As a Nice fan, Ratcliffe out, says Alex. Avram is trolling. If Leicester beat Liverpool, then for me, Liverpool have no chance of top 4, so Man United don't need to worry. I tell you what, Leicester, I beg, I pray Leicester do us a favour today. I mean, we shouldn't be relying on Leicester doing us a favour, because we win our 2 remaining home games, we get top 4. If we don't win our 2 remaining home games and we beat Bournemouth and then we beat either Chelsea or Fulham, we get top 4. We've got to beat 2 of Bournemouth, Chelsea, Fulham. Chelsea are rubbish. Fulham is at home, and Fulham have got nothing to play for like Wolves, and we beat Fulham already this season with that Garnacho winner, the day that Ronaldo interview came out. and Bournemouth away. Again, Bournemouth is safe now. So they're kind of lucky in the sense that Bournemouth and Fulham have nothing to play for, and Chelsea have nothing to play for, and 2 of them are at home. So United should get top 4, but Leicester have a lot to play for. And Liverpool's running Leicester, and Villa still technically can play for Europe. Liverpool could drop some points as well. Kim Min Jae is top class, but does the current setup have any authority to secure any signings right now during the transition? And this is the thing that I'm worrying, and this is the thing that I'm questioning. So we know from a wide variety of journalists, and this has been reported for months, that United have been interested in Kim Min Jae. Romano said that United have got an interest in Kim Min Jae. Kim Min Jae and Timber have been linked to United since probably like October, let's be honest. They're players that United have obviously been interested in. I think United do want defensive reinforcement because I think it's destined that Maguire will leave. And Maguire will be placed with Kim Min Jae. Varane is obviously 30, injury prone. United want to be like City and go, well, our good centre back Varane is 30 and injury prone. Let's get Varane's replacement in now, not wait till Varane leaves. Because I feel like Manchester United will have a good player, wait till they leave, then faff around getting a replacement, whereas Man City will get that replacement 2 years prior. Which is why I also think we should be looking at a young DM like Rabiot, with Southampton being relegated potentially for Casemiro, Moises Caicedo. But I think it's a difficult one because I believe, and I 100% believe, that United have had to talk to Kim Min Jae because it's come from very good sources, and a lot of people talk about. 100% believe United have had to talk to Kim Min Jae. I 100% believe that United have presented their project to Kim Min Jae, and I 100% believe that Kim Min Jae is interested in joining United. Now, what I don't believe is that an offer's been made and that Kim Min Jae has accepted the offer. I think that Kim Min Jae has looked at United's offer and said, look, I'm really interested in going. Out of all the offers, out of all the clubs in for me in my release clause, I think Man United is the side Kim Min Jae is most interested in. Man City don't need a centre-back. Liverpool are too focused on midfield. Arsenal potentially, but I think you'd still choose United over Arsenal. If you Man United get top 4, unless Real Madrid go in for you, you're not really going to go elsewhere because we're in the Premier League. We are the club with the biggest project in the Premier League. Realistically, unless Real Madrid made an offer for him, I think he would pick United. And I do generally believe that United are in for the guy. United have had talks with the guy. We know that is true. I believe that United had presented their project to the guy, and I believe that Kim Min Jae was impressed by that, and Kim Min Jae probably wants to go to United. The problem is, because of this takeover, because of bits of bobs going on, I don't think United have, United have reportedly made him an offer, a brilliant offer, and Kim Min Jae won't turn it down and is going to say yes to that offer and is going to agree to that offer, reportedly. I don't think Man United have actually made an offer because United don't know what's going on with the takeover, what's going on with the ownership. And I don't think there's been anything formal agreed, and I don't think anything can happen until July, until his release clause is active. But what I believe United are trying to do with this is to try and pin Kim Min Jae down, get it all kind of ready now, figure out that he wants to come. So then when July happens, they can pay the release clause because ownership should be sorted by July. That's what I believe. I don't think anything official will be done until July. I think that we can be told that Kim Min Jae wants to come to United. And if that is the case, United can go for him in July, pay the release clause, and Kim Min Jae will agree to join, and that will be easy. But I think with the takeover, when people are saying, "Oh, Kim Min Jae to United is imminent," well, no, it's not. And the reason I'll tell you Kim Min Jae to United isn't imminent is because 1, nothing can happen until July 1st, and 2, nothing can happen until this takeover is concluded. So Ten Hag said this 2 days ago that he's spoken to United targets and they're keen to come. I'm sure that we have Rabiot, Kim Min Jae, maybe Gonzalo Ramos, and maybe somebody else speaking to Ten Hag saying they're keen to come, but they're probably sitting there saying they're keen to come and they're going to wait till July for their move, or another team's going to swoop in for them and they're going to go. That's what I believe. But I do generally believe that Man United are in for Kim Min Jae. I do generally believe this can happen. The only thing is, this would be such a smart intellectual deal for United to do. I mean, 40 million for Kim Min Jae, good centre back. You sell Maguire for nearly 30 million. You buy Kim Min Jae for 40 million. You're technically buying another centre-back for 12 million when you look at it. And you think, well, that is some good business from United. Very good centre-back, very good. Challenge Ram, take us to the next level. Smart business, good bargain price, get it done early. That doesn't sound like United. United doing smart business, not overpaying and getting a deal done early. United doing business that makes sense. That doesn't sound like Manchester United in the transfer window. For me, that is the most worrying thing. When do United actually do logical deals in the transfer window as well? You didn't say De Jong, Alice. I mean, look, I would love De Jong at United, but I've come to the belief that I don't think it's going to happen, although not ruling it out completely because Barcelona need to make 100 million in sales. Yash says Kim Min Jae is a beast. Kim Min Jae is an absolute beast. I mean, this would be such an unbelievable signing. It would be such an unbelievable signing, and it's so logical that I don't trust United to do it. Do you know what's really annoying me is that we've been linked to Lavia a little bit, and so have Chelsea. and Lavia's going to be 30 million. Southampton getting relegated, and then we hear more about United either signing Sabitzer or getting Rabiot than going for someone like Lavia. I feel like United just don't do those logical deals. Like for me, Kim Min Jae would be like 40 million. You know, Enzo Lafie could be 20 million. Orkun Kuku could be 20 million. Lavia could be 30 million. In midfield, you've got Moises Caicedo that would solve so many problems that could come in midfield. You've got, you know, so many players. I mean, Man United want a right back. Moises Caicedo can play right back, DM, and centre mid. If I was United, I'd break the bank for Moises Caicedo. I'd get Kim Min Jae, and then I'd get a striker, and then potentially, if we had the funds, go for a goalkeeper. That's what United should do. Alex says Kim Min Jae can do it all. I was surprised how physical and strong he was after watching a bit more recently. Yeah, I was watching Napoli a lot in the Champions League. I was actually watching them earlier on in the season, and Kim Min Jae really impressed me. Obviously, everyone talks about Osimhen and stuff, but I remember, I think I did a video actually before the World Cup, and I did a team of the season before the World Cup, and I did like all-round leagues, and I put a Kim Min Jae in it as a centre-back because I remember him really particularly impressing me. I think he's a good player. It was said that Kim Min Jae reportedly has decided to join Manchester United, and that is only a matter of details as the news coming out. It was said as well by another Italian source that Kim Min Jae's release clause must be activated between the 1st and 15th of July if he's to leave Napoli this summer. There's a concrete hypothesis that he'll leave, and Manchester United are currently in first place in terms of clubs chasing him. So yesterday it was reported that United are leading the race for Kim Min Jae, and that, you know, his release clause can be activated. Today it's been reported that Kim Min Jae has decided to join United from tier 2 Italian sources, so not Romano. Just to clarify, yes, it's been reported that Kim Min Jae has decided to join United, but it's not being reported from Fabrizio Romano or David Ornstein, so it doesn't 100% mean it's true. Just going to clarify that. I feel like there's something going on here, but I'm not saying that Kim Min Jae, you know, it's going to happen. I'm saying this is looking good, this is looking positive, but it's not been official or confirmed, just to clarify. It was said 3 days ago, United are in for Kim Min Jae. They've held talks. The talks have gone well. United apparently made Kim Min Jae an offer that he won't turn down, and that United presented the project. Ten Hag presented the project to Kim Min Jae, and Kim Min Jae is very open to United in the summer, rather than staying at Napoli, rather than taking on other deals. So that is what we know about Kim Min Jae, and it would be a really smart deal for United to do. Sabitzer going back to Bayern with injured back. Yeah, I think that's Sabitzer over at United. I like Sabitzer, but I wouldn't spend money on him. You could get Enzo Lafie for the same price you can get Sabitzer for. If someone said to me, you spend 20 million on Sabitzer or 20 million on Enzo Lafie, I go, Sabitzer, nearly 30, injury prone, was average. Enzo Lafie has potential to be the new kind of next level up. And I've watched Enzo Lafie play 4 times. I'm not saying I know a lot about this guy, but the 4 times I've watched him play, I thought, he was the one that stood up. I was like, I see why people point him out. And I'm not saying, I don't know a lot about Enzo Lafie, but I've watched him 4 times. I'd heard about him. I noticed him when I watched him. I want someone that's young, impressionable. You know, I prefer that to the likes of Rabiot and to the likes of Sabitzer. I like Sabitzer, but I think that's the last thing United should thing. Alice, any news on McAllister? Actually, we do have news on McAllister. It was said by Andy Naylor, who is a Brighton journalist, that Alexis McAllister wants Champions League football if he leaves Brighton this summer, and United and Liverpool, the clubs, are interested in him. I think McAllister's going to end up at Liverpool because I think he's Liverpool's #1 priority. I think that United like McAllister. I think United are in for McAllister, but I think United's focus will be on Kim Min Jae and strikers ahead of McAllister. So I think he will go to Liverpool. However, I think United are going to get top 4 and Liverpool aren't. And I actually think if United showed as much interest in him as Liverpool, I think he would pick United over Liverpool. But I think he will end up at Liverpool. I think that's what Liverpool want. I think United want him, but I think he will go to Liverpool. And I'm not bothered about that. I would have gone for Moises Caicedo over McAllister. I'm not sure if Moises Caicedo will go signing a new contract and McAllister leaving. I think if he does go, we'd have to pay massively for Moises Caicedo. But for me, I would personally prefer Moises Caicedo. But I think Alexis McAllister to United is still on. United are still interested in him. Things could very much happen, but I would expect him to go to Liverpool from what I'm hearing as well. Is Rabiot going to be a first-team player? Then I see that's a terrible signing. I'm hoping Rabiot is just McTominay goes, Sabitzer goes, okay, let's get Rabiot in. And then United go and get Moises Caicedo in or another midfielder in, like Lavia, James Maddison. We have to sign 2. If we sign Rabiot, we have to sign another midfielder. He's a free signing for me. He doesn't count. I said this, and I did a tweet today. I said United should sign David Raya or whatever goalkeeper that Ten Hag wants. I'm not that fussed. Kim Min Jae. I said we should sign Moises Caicedo. Worst comes to worst, he can play right back. He can be back up to Casemiro. He can play alongside Casemiro. I said that we should sign Enzo Laffi for 20 million instead of signing Sabitzer for 20 million. You can get Enzo Laffi for 18 million reportedly. And then I said we should sign probably Gonzalo Ramos Kane or Victor Osimhen, but I think Gonzalo Ramos has potential to be the cheapest. Rabiot on a free, I don't mind. I don't mind Rabiot on a free, but I don't want Rabiot to be our midfield signing, if you get me. If United are signing Moises Caicedo and Rabiot, I'm happy with that. But if United are signing Rabiot and saying, well, we signed our midfielder, I'm not happy with that because Rabiot is not good enough to take us to the next level. Rabiot is an improvement on McTominay. Rabiot is a very good bench option, but if United want to get to the next level, you've got to do better than Rabiot. I kind of see it like Fred. I like Fred. Fred's a good bench option. Fred came off the bench against Wolves, really impressed me. Okay? But you don't win Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues with Fred in your squad. But Fred can be a part of that. And that's what I see with Rabiot. A player that could be a part of that as well. With Marcel Sitbitz ruled out for the rest of the season, what does that mean? We will sign Rabiot as a free to replace him? I think so. However, Rabiot's greedy. His mother's greedy. They could demand ridiculous wages. We'll actually have to see how this deal potentially progresses as well. Caicedo is the ideal signing this season, shown we lack enough bite and physicality in midfield. And I tell you this now, I know that the priority is a striker, but if I could sign one player for United this season, I think I would sign Moises Caicedo or Frankie de Jong. But I'm trying to be a bit more realistic with Moises Caicedo. I would generally, if I was United, I would break the bank for Moises Caicedo, which I hate saying because we could have signed him for £4 or £5 million, idiot. But he's such an unbelievable player. He was playing right back versus Arsenal, incredible. He's been incredible for 2 seasons in the midfield. I would really break the bank for him. I would really overpay for him because he can be Casemiro back up and play alongside Casemiro. There's so much more to his game. He's evolving. He's so young. He's reportedly a United fan. I seriously, if I was United, would break the bank for Moises Caicedo because I generally think we do lack goals at the moment, but we also are lacking controlling games. And I think if we control the games better, which Moises Caicedo will allow us to do, we will create more chances and we will score more goals. And I think you build a team up from the back. I've always said this. I think that, and I think that's what Ten Hag is doing. We've got the most clean sheets in the Premier League this season. I think defensively, we've been really good. I almost think the striker's the final piece to the puzzle. I almost think Anthony is like a final piece to the puzzle in a sense as well, because I think once we get the system right, I think Anthony will improve. But I'm almost at the point where if you bring Kim Min Jae in, you bring Moises Caicedo in, and you bring in, I don't know, whatever goalkeeper you want, David Raya, Diogo Costa, I generally think Manchester United's general structure, control, flow of games will be so much better that naturally will create more chances. And then you bring in that striker, that's the final piece of the puzzle. Boom. That's what I see, and that's what I want to see. Interestingly as well, I think Amad Diallo coming back could allow for maybe the sale of someone like Sancho to potentially raise funds for United to extract their budget. Now, I don't actually want to sell Sancho, but if we've got FFP issues, I'm willing to sell Sancho to expand the budget with Amad Diallo coming back. The only thing to bear in mind with Amad Diallo is he's not potentially a winger. He's a winger, but he very much almost plays as a right-sided cam for Sunderland. He kind of plays in the half spaces as like a 10 for Sunderland on the right-hand side and then cuts in with his left because he doesn't have that pace. But he is a similar profile to Anthony, and he's a left-footed right winger, and he's technical. He's got that low centre of gravity, low centre of control, and I think he could thrive under Eric Ten Hag. But I think United have got lots of interesting stuff ahead. Guys, please do smash that like button if you have not already, and of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, takeover news, and more, make sure you subscribe down below as well. Enzo Laffi and Romeo Lavia, I just think they would be bargain deals as well. Everyone's saying you said De Jong, haha, De Jong loves Barcelona, doesn't want to leave. I love De Jong, but I wouldn't sign Hakimi. I think he's overrated, actually. I think he's a good player, but he's not done enough to impress me this season. Obviously, I think he's had a lot of issues going off the pitch this season, which I'm not too sure on what's going on, what's true and what's not true. But I think Hakimi, I would assess where he's at next year. I mean, I do think he would improve us though as well. Rodriguez, Gundogan, Xhaka has Partey. Most of the better midfielders have more than one physical in the midfield, which is true, says Alex. And I think that's what United need. And Caicedo is the best money. Caicedo is the best money. It's not a problem. And yeah, I generally would break the bank. People say sell Wan-Bissaka and Dalot. I'll be honest, I think we have bigger problems than right back. I think that we can wait until next season to assess the right backs. I think we could do better than Wan-Bissaka and Dalot, but I think Wan-Bissaka and Dalot are solid. They can do a job. I don't think they're an issue. For me, centre-back, striker, midfielder, so those are the 3 priorities, followed by a goalkeeper, then potentially followed by right-backs, wingers, etc., etc., etc. as well. Time to move on. Frankie de Jong, he doesn't want to move to United, and that's probably true as well. People saying Qatar in. We will get into the takeover news in just a second. Chris Weatley reporting that Qatar putting in a $6 billion bid as well. Garnacho with Sancho, to be honest, he has that hunger. I think just the thing that frustrates me with Sancho is I feel like if he got the ball and he shot more, he'd score more goals, but he plays it too safe. I like that Garnacho comes on, makes an instant impact, runs at people, tries to make things happen, doesn't care about losing the ball, gets that shot off. And I feel like Garnacho just has that directness, that rawness. I like that Garnacho can get the ball from outside the box, bring it in, does stuff with the ball. And I just want that from Sancho, and we're not getting that as well. Nearly 800 watching. Let's get 400 likes. Yep, smash the like button if you are Glazers out as well. Casado at 21 years old, 70 to 85 million, not a bad deal at all, says Alex B. And I agree. I think he has the potential to be a world beater. You know, when we looked at Camavinga, 18 years of age, and he's gone to Real Madrid now, and we all would love Camavinga. I think that Casado, it reminds me of that Camavinga. You know, when we were watching him, we were like, this is the young guy that we should go for. I really think United should look at Moises Caicedo. Thank you very much for the super chat. Alex Marmon, the nerve of the Glazers to be at the FA Cup final. Our women have achieved so much despite them. Even Darcy, the female Glazer, attended. And yeah, I mean, look, good for them, you could say, for showing their support. La-di-la-di-la. But they just, it's just such a PR act. You know, it's such a PR act. It's like you refuse to invest in the women's squad for so long. They haven't invested well in the men's squad, but the way they neglected the women's facilities, the women's pitches, the women should have a brand new state-of-the-art facility, brilliant pitches. They don't want to do that. They've shown no interest in the women's side, and then they rock up to FA Cup final, Wembley. I just think it's a PR stunt. People say, look at them showing they care, rocking up. They rock up once a season, once a year max if we're at Wembley, but they show no interest. And I just think it had PR written all over it, because I don't think they've been good owners of the women's team one bit as well. Let him go to United. Who's this? I don't know who we're talking about as well. I mean, people saying Hakimi overrated, don't watch ball. I mean, I don't mean overrated. I think he's a very good player, but but people like he's the best right back in the world by miles, and actually he's better than what we have, but just doesn't move me. And maybe that's just me as well. Maybe that's just me as well. Old Trafford full house every match. Glazers stay forever. Thank you. Full match. Old Trafford full house every match. Stay forever. Thank you for fan support. I mean, the Glazers love United. We're a money-making machine for them, but the debt, the interest rates, we're actually not making much money for the Glazers as well. Sancho lacks that hunger to win everything when he's on the pitch. Need more characters that are more direct and relentless. Sancho seems too chill all the time for United. And Diego says, let's get Alice to 62k. Please do subscribe. Big up, Diego. Please do subscribe to the channel. Smash the like button and share, of course. I don't think that was Darcy who attended. I'm not sure who else attended. I didn't notice Darcy. It might have been, but I don't know what she looks like. And $6 billion bid coming from Qatar. Well, that is what's being reported, $6 billion. So should we get into that report? Let me just make sure there's nothing else been said on it quickly. Abraham Glazer pictured at a hotel owned by Sheikh Jassim's father. That's interesting. That's very interesting. This has just come out now. What's the comment saying? This is interesting. I mean, it could just be pure coincidence. I mean, he really is ratty, isn't he? He just looks like a rat. He really does. But Abraham Glazer pictured a hotel owned by Sheikh Jassim's father amid takeover bid. I mean, Qatar just own a lot of London, so it could be general coincidence. That's just come out now. I'm just seeing if anything else has been spotted. It's also saying Sheikh Jassim's father, Hamad bin Jassim bin Yaba Al Thani, probably butchered that, owns Mayborn Hotel Group. Abraham was pictured walking out of the building in Mayfair, entering in a Mercedes before driving away from the area, which is interesting. It could just be a coincidence because Qatar own a lot of London. Not much has been said on that, but I mean that's the story coming in just now. But I want to get into the $6 billion bid story. So yeah, I'm working into Qatar, and I know Arabs they are to never accept to be defeated. It's shame to them. I believe Qatar can't lose this battle, says you. And to be fair, a couple of other people said this to me. It was reported that Qatar are almost so deep into this takeover, and they're so committed to this takeover that it would be embarrassing to lose now, and that they will, this news of Sir Jim being the preferred bidder or like to be named the preferred bidder, has potentially angered the 9 Foundation to go in and put this new 6 billion bid in, which is what's being reported. It said that Qatar won't give up easy. In Qatar, they will not accept defeat. You know, they're so far into United. They've gone to making this 9 Foundation. They've been so deep in this takeover process that they will not give up now. They will do anything they can to get United. It is what is potentially being reported as well. Glazers have apparently been in London since Friday. Yeah, when I did my Friday stream, someone sent me these flights of, you know, Qatar flights to London and Manchester flights from, like, the private jet flights from where the Glazers are in Florida to England. And someone actually sent me a tweet saying, like, this could be the Glazers flying to England. I believe that tweet was right, because ironically the Glazers arrived in England when that private jet right by where the Glazers live in Florida came to England. So yeah, 247 likes. Let's go for 400 likes. If your Glazers out, please do smash that like button. Obviously the Glazers have been at a Qatari hotel in London owned by Sheikh Jassim's father, which is a big coincidence. It's a very interesting coincidence. Now, I don't know if there's much more in it, but that is what's being reported. The Glazers at a hotel by Sheikh Jassim's father. But what I actually wanted to get into was not that story. I actually wanted to get the story up, but I was just checking the news, and a lot of people getting excited. I think it could just be a coincidence. But this was what came out. And I said, good source, but we get a new story every day. Hard to know what to believe with the takeover was my initial thought when reading this. But Chris Weatley is like tier 1 Arsenal source. So him being on United is interesting. Unless he's got something that's very good, I don't think he would talk about United, and he believes he's got something that's very good here. He said that Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani is said to be preparing a final offer of $6 billion to purchase Manchester United. So what's being reported from very, very good, respectable journalists, and this was also said by Mike Keegan the other day, that Qataris are going to put an 11th hour bid. Mike Keegan said that Qatar is going to put a big 11th hour bid. The Times, who are incredibly reliable, said that it seems that Qatar could be putting in a last minute bid. We've now got Chris Weatley saying Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani is preparing a $6 billion offer to purchase United. Now, I believe this. I do. I said it's hard to believe what's happened with the takeover, etc. And I'm not saying that this is the case, but the reason I believe this, I'm going to tell you this now, is it's been nearly 3 weeks since Qatar and Sir Jim put their offer in. If the Glazers were as happy with Sir Jim's offer as they said, if it was true that Sir Jim Ratcliffe was going to be the preferred bidder, why 2 weeks after the reports came flooding out that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is going to be the next United owner and that the Glazers are going to pick his bid, has nothing happened? If the Glazers were that happy with Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid, why in nearly 3 weeks has nothing happened? Surely, if the Glazers were that happy with Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid, they'd be in an exclusive zone right now. They would have waited a week, analysed the bid and gone into exclusive zone, because we've known for 2.5 weeks that the Glazers prefer Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid and that he is in pole position, etc., etc. Glazers prefer Sir Jim Ratcliffe, blah, 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 is what's being reported by the media. The fact that it's been nearly 3 weeks, and apparently for 3 weeks the Glazers preferred Sir Jim, but not bothered to go in exclusive zone, says to me, do the Glazers really prefer Sir Jim, or was this a game to get Qatar to up their bid, which Qatar seems to be doing? And the fact that they haven't gone into this exclusive zone says to me they were waiting for Qatar to up their bid, which says to me they could be interested in selling 100% of the club and that Qatar are going to up their offer. That's what it says to me, and that is why I believe the story. Now, it's hard to know what to believe, but I generally believe that Qatar are putting in a new bid, and I generally believe that the Glazers released those Sergio Ratcliffe stories on purpose to make this happen. That is what I believe. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But I think the fact that it's been so long since those final bids, and no Jim Ratcliffe has been put, and Jim Ratcliffe has not been put in exclusive zone yet, it says to me, clearly the Glazers are waiting for something, and this could be what they're waiting for. And that's just my thoughts, that's just my opinion. But, you know, we have to wait and see. As I said, it's still not confirmed, just wait. And I'm not saying that Sheikh Jassim is going to put a $6 billion bid on. We've got a lot of people saying different things, and a lot of that isn't true. This story might not be true. And I don't want people to think, oh, yeah, Qatar are going to be the next owners. The general thing is you have to wait and see. Because you could also say, well, actually, this gives Sir Jim Ratcliffe an opportunity to up his bid. I generally believe the Glazers have delayed this because they want a higher bid from Sir Jim Ratcliffe and they want a higher bid from Qatar. They might get a higher bid from Jim Ratcliffe, they might get a higher bid from Qatar, and they might take Jim Ratcliffe's bid, or they might take Qatar's bid. I do generally believe the reason the preferred bidder hasn't been picked is because they want to draw out even higher bids, and then they'll go in exclusive zone. And I'm not saying it's going to be Qatar, and I'm not saying that Qatar are putting in the $6 billion bid, but I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if this was true, but I'm not saying Qatar are going to be the next owners. I'm just giving like a theory of mine as well. It could be a masterstroke by Qatar. Sir Jim Ratcliffe has his bid maximum now and can only afford 50% of that price. Qatar now know exactly what they need to bid to win, says Paul. Interesting as well. Alice, I doubt Sergio Ratcliffe would want to be used as a pawn in this. True, I don't think he will, but I think the Glazers will use anyone as pawns if it's going to get them more money. At the end of the day, we can say what we want in this takeover. No one knows the facts. Not even Fabrizio Romano knows the facts. No one knows what's going on about this takeover other than the Rain Group and those involved with the Glazers. But one thing we know, and one thing all of us know for certain, is the Glazers are greedy. They should be called the Greeders. The Glazers are greedy. And that is one thing we know for sure. And one thing we can guess from one thing we can know for sure is that the Glazers will do anything to make sure they can make as many pennies as possible from this takeover deal, which would help us come to the conclusion that the takeover is being delayed to make more money. Does that mean it's being delayed for Qatar? Does that mean it's being delayed for Sergio Ratcliffe? We don't know. But one thing we do know is the Glazers are greedy, and the Glazers would do anything to get as much money as they want. And that would include using Sergio Ratcliffe as a pawn. That may even include using Qatar as a pawn to get more from Sergio Ratcliffe. You see, whenever we get announced that there's another round of bidding, a Carlisle Group story comes out, an Elliott Group story comes out. The Glazers would use people as pawns. The Glazers will release fake stories. The Glazers will drag on this process forever and ever and ruin Ten Hag's transfer window if it means they can get more money. Because the Glazers are the greeders. They're greedy. And whatever you think about this takeover, whatever we know and whatever we don't know, the one thing we all know is that the Glazers would do anything. They would screw anyone over to get more money. It's what they care about as well. Glazers want a high bid from Qatar because Ratcliffe can't afford to buy the whole club, and that could potentially be true from Sean. Are the Glazers doing this on purpose to get a high bid from Qatar because they know Ratcliffe can't afford to buy the whole club? Do the Glazers actually want to sell the whole club, or do they want to stay? It's the answer to questions we don't know as well. Imagine if our club is brought by Jim and Qatar buys Liverpool, it'd be a disaster, says Yes. And if anyone's raising a bid, it's Qatar. With Jim, he might even buy less percentages than being reported, and that's true. If Qatar do raise their bid, I think there's a strong chance, but I think Qatar would have to raise their bid to 6 billion. And despite reliable sources saying Qatar are going to raise their bid to 6 billion, you just don't know as well. It could be delayed for Qatar. It may not be delayed for Qatar. If I see the Glazers at Mayfair tomorrow, I'll ask them to accept the Qatar bid, says Diego. Big up Diego in the chat as well. Alice, there is more option. The bloody Glazers might not sell at all, and that's true as well. The reason I don't talk about the potential of the Glazers not selling at all is because I think the Glazers are so deep in this takeover process. There would be such consequence if they stayed. There would be fan outrage. There would be protests. I think it would be career suicide if the Glazers stayed, because I think economically, I don't think they can afford to run United. That's why they're looking for minority investment, because they know they can't actually afford to stay at the club. It's not making the money anymore. They can't take out dividends. The reason I've been talking so much about Sergio Ratcliffe and Qatar and no one else is because I think ultimately the Glazers know they actually don't have the financial capabilities to stay here much longer as well. What the Glazers and Rain Group are doing is illegal. The club is valued at 3.7 billion. I mean, it's not illegal. It's just playing, let's get as much money as possible. Jim is maxed out. I can't see him raising a bid, says Alex. Potentially true. And Alice, you at the game Saturday, was Old Trafford in need of redevelopment? Is it as bad as everyone making out? And it is. And I love Old Trafford. It's a beautiful stadium. It's the most historic stadium in the Premier League. But I go to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium a lot, actually. I've been to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium multiple times to watch games, been there for events and stuff. And you go in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and obviously it is brand new. But the difference between being in the Tottenham Stadium and Old Trafford, the modernness of the Tottenham Stadium, how nice it is, like every ounce of the Tottenham Stadium is clear of the United Stadium. Getting in, it's smoother, the inside is nicer. Old Trafford is extremely outdated. I mean, the food, like everything about Tottenham is better. The food, the drink, the hospitality, the stadium, the seating, the electronics, the screens, the getting in and out. Old Trafford is significantly outdated. But if you actually walk around Old Trafford, there's bits where it's rusty and dusty. There's leaks every now and then. It just looks so outdated. We're Manchester United. Even the Etihad, not just Tottenham. I know that's incredibly new, but you go into the Etihad, you even go into the Emirates. I've been into the Emirates a few times as well. I've been into the Emirates. I've been in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium multiple times. Been in West Ham's new stadium, the Olympic Park, multiple times, and they completely show up the Manchester United Stadium, completely. And we are bigger than all of those clubs. We are the biggest club in England. We're the most historic club in England. And we've got the only stadium in the Premier League that doesn't have a proper electronic screen. Only stadium doesn't have a proper electronic screen. Leaks, rust, dust problems. yeah, it's a shame. And the Glazers have let Old Trafford get like that. The Glazers have neglected United and let Old Trafford get like that. Glazers have created anxiety among United fans by saying Ratcliffe is the preferred bidder. I do say this, look, the information that comes out, because of the non-disclosure agreement, I think any information that comes out is probably leaked by people around the Glazers and Reign, if I'm being honest. Any information that comes out is probably leaked by people around the Glazers and Reign. So I think a lot of the stories that go out could be negotiation tactics, but I think it's just annoying because I just think it's a difficult one to just know what to believe as well. I mean, a lot of people saying, you know, Sergeant Ratcliffe's in the lead. A lot of people saying Sheikh Jassim's in the lead. I think we really just have to wait and see who's in the lead. I honestly, I don't know. We don't know. No one knows. But it's annoying with the news because we just get a story here, a story there, a story here, a story there. And I think that we're all being played. I think the Glazers are all playing us like a fiddle. I really do. I think the Glazers are playing us like a fiddle to get as much money as they can out of this takeover as well. If Qatar were willing to raise the bid, just odd that they would let weeks go by before doing it, which again is a questionable thing. Can we believe that Qatar is in the bid as well? And nothing official that Qatar's made a $6 billion bid, story talk. And look, again, it could be story talk. I'm not saying that they have. I'm just saying that this is what is being reported as well. And obviously, Avram Glazer being pictured at the hotel as well. Creepy Uncle Avram, yeah. Fabrizio Romano said last week on Monday that on the United stand that the sale update will be given in 7 to 10 days. So I do think we'll find something out by the end of the week. But then I did say that last week. We did, but we didn't. We got news, but actually wasn't official news. Wasn't that anything had happened? It was rumors. It was paper talk again. As well, if the Qatar bidders doesn't win, Qatar could purchase Tottenham. Yeah, and they really could. They want a Premier League club. They want to own a Premier League side. The Premier League is where it's at, and the rivals will just strengthen and get this sovereign wealth, and we'll just fall further and further behind. And the next thing you know, will be, we're Man United, but we're at a point where so much money is in football that it doesn't matter if we're the club that generates the most money. The competitors have got so much money that we can't compete with them anymore. I wouldn't blame Reign as much. Most of the reports suggest that they didn't want the Glazers to prolong the process. Yeah, obviously, look, it's not really Reign's fault. It is that the Glazers are using them to get as much money as they can. Ratcliffe should just give up the way Arsenal gave up this title. I mean, and Alice, remember the 100 mil the Glazers have to pay back in June. Yeah, reportedly we have to pay back 100 million in June, which would. I remember talking about this, and I'm not quite sure what the story was, but reportedly United have got to pay 100 mil back in June, which would say to me that surely this takeover is going to be wrapped up before we've got to pay this 100 mil back, because that is something that I don't think the Glazers can afford to do. Over 1,000 people watching, so make sure you subscribe to Alice Talks Football for all the best and latest Manchester United news, and please do obviously share the video as well. Big up Diego in the chat for that. And we just want it all over now, 100%. I just said I'm really fed up with this takeover because I just want it over as well. Ratcliffe is a smokescreen and Qatar is the next owner. Says, damn, potentially, but we just don't know. And Marcel and Sancho have no fight left in them. They should join the punditry. Savage. I mean, what would you do with Martial and Sancho? Let me know in the chat what you do with them as well. Let's a bit to go back. We're forgetting that Maino coming through the ranks. I'd try him next season and get Leffy, Kim Min Jae, and Kane. I mean, look, I wouldn't keep. I don't know if Maino will be ready. I'd like to give him a go, but I wouldn't go for Sabitzer. And Kim Min Jae coming. I mean, reportedly, but you can't believe the reports when we haven't even got this takeover sorted. How are we going to sign him if we haven't got this takeover sorted as well? If Qatar buys another Premier League club, we basically become mid-table. It feels like that as well. Tielemans available on a free, but he's very much dropped off recently as well. June is still very late for our summer business, and I doubt it gets sorted by then. Yeah, I think that our summer window is going to be July and August, and it's going to be a bit of a scrap and a bit of a rush and a bit of an overpayment, which is worrying as well. A lot of people saying keep Sancho so much. Yeah, Martial and Sancho aren't good enough. I mean, they've not done enough this season to impress me. I do believe both players, and I like both players, and I've always believed both players to be very good, but they've not done enough this season to actually say, look, I deserve to start for United, I deserve to stay. And I love Sancho. I think he's a fantastic player, but it's not working for him. Martial's too injury prone. I think if worse comes to worse, you do sell them. But there's people like McTominay and Maguire that I would sell way ahead of them. I'm just going to make sure there's no other stories coming in while we're here as well. Making sure there's no other stories coming in. So the Reign offices is there. I'm just going to see if there's any other stories coming on takeover. Doesn't look like there's any other stories coming in. I mean, this was obviously the story coming out. Qatar is preparing to raise final offer to buy United for about £6 billion. This was also being reported by Saudi outlets as well. Rather, Ahmad and Pellistri get Sancho's minutes next season. And I'm at the point with Ahmad Diallo coming back, maybe sell Sancho. I'm at the point because you can still get 40-50 million for Sancho. If we've got FFP issues, if we've got a lack of budget, when you need a striker, we need a centre mid, we need a centre back, and you can arguably say we need a goalkeeper, I think you need all the funds that you can get as well. Hey, Alice, any other targets linked to United? There's been quite a few people linked to United, but I mean, we get linked to a new goalkeeper every day. I think United obviously want a goalkeeper. I think United want Kim Min Jae. I think United want a midfielder and United want a striker. I think they're the 4 positions that United are going to go for. We're heavily linked to a goalkeeper pretty much every single day at the moment. There's about 100 goalkeepers I could talk to. Raya, Diogo Costa, the Dortmund keeper, the Anderlecht keeper. Very heavily linked to goalkeepers. So I think United obviously looking to do something with goalkeepers. I think Rabiot we're being linked to at the moment. We're also being linked to Kim Min Jae. We're also being linked to Tobido. We're being linked to Diazy of AS Monaco. I mean, the thing about United is we're just linked to every single person under the sun. That is actually quite annoying. But I would say the links I would keep an eye on are Kim Min Jae, or Kunkoku, which we haven't been linked to him for a couple of weeks, but I still keep an eye on that one. I think it's a cheap one. I think it's like Malacia. You know how we're linked to Malacia, then we heard nothing about Malacia for a month, and then we went and signed him. Or Kunkoku, I would keep an eye on. Kim Min Jae, I would keep an eye on. Harry Kane, I would keep an eye on. They're the 3 I would really keep an eye on this summer. Rabiot, I'd keep an eye on as well, actually. They're the 4 kind of transfers I'd really keep an eye on, that United have been linked to as well. Someone said links to transfer targets are great, but where's the funds to get the top players? Going for Rabiot on a free indicates no money. True. I'm hoping Rabiot is just like an Ericsson deal where it doesn't affect our transfer at all. You know how we signed Ericsson, but it didn't actually affect who else we signed? I'm hoping Rabiot was like that, But because he's 3, it doesn't affect who else we sign. We're just getting him because Ten Hag wanted him last season and he is 3 as well. Koku is a good midfielder, I agree. Sancho in the wrong position needs to play the 9 instead of the wing. I don't think Sancho's a 9, but I think he could be all right as a 10. Alice, I believe the Glazers are making it difficult forever. The owners are for the summer transfer window. True. The thing about Sancho is he's not a touchline winger. And to be a touchline winger, you need to be fast, you need to be rapid, which is what Ten Hag likes, and you don't get that with Sancho. And I think that's why it might not be working as well. You need to get Rabiot done early. Do you want to keep him as well? Do they have Juventus offering a new contract or not? Let me know about that. If Juventus actually offered Rabiot a new contract or not. Sign Koku. Yeah, I think Koku would be good. I think especially around 20 million. Very good, very exciting as well. Alice, Avram Glazer is staying at a hotel owned by Sheikh Jassim's father. There are pictures of him entering and leaving. Yep, I know that. Qatar, and they do own a lot of London, so it could just be a coincidence. Paul and Jordan Fickford, I think most people would say no. Rabiot would be an alternative to Bitzer. Eric Ten Hag may be looking to save money and go for other targets. Rabiot on a free is better than 25 for Sabitzer. And I agree. I think, Alex, you hit the nail on the head there. I really agree with that comment. I think Rabiot could just be that Sabitzer alternative, and then we go and sign another midfielder. And Rabiot's free, Sabitzer's 25 million. Rabiot's younger, probably a little bit better. I agree. I think Rabiot is just actually that Sabitzer replacement, and then we get another midfielder. And I think that would be smart business, and that's what I'm kind of hoping is the case. Ahmad Diallo needs to be in the first team next season. Hopefully he'll get the minutes, Daniel. Hopefully he'll get the minutes. I mean, I think Ahmad Diallo is an absolute baller. I think that he could really challenge Anthony for some minutes, and hopefully Ten Hag gives him a chance. And I believe that Ten Hag will give him a chance. I think Ten Hag gives people a chance, and if you take your chance, he plays you again. The thing that worries me about Ahmad Diallo is on both his loan spells, he needed a couple games to get going and kind of warm up. He did that at Sunderland. He did that at Rangers. He needs a few games to get going and warm up. Rangers didn't really give him that opportunity. Sunderland did. So, will Ten Hag be patient enough to give him that opportunity? Because United, Ten Hag, like someone like Garnacho, instant impact. It might be injuries or something as well to keep an eye on for. Qatar probably offered free rooms. Glazers don't turn down a free. Remember the kebabs at Formula 1. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if they're just staying there because they could stay there and not have to spend any money because they're tight scopes. And sure, Rabiot is a good deal, but that's only if we go out and spend money on a great midfielder. 100%. And this is what I've been saying. I don't want Rabiot if that is our only midfield signing. If United aren't going to get a midfield signing and going to choose Rabiot over midfield signing, I don't want Rabiot one bit. I don't want to go near Rabiot. But if Manchester United are looking to sign Rabiot on top of a midfielder and United are just going, well, Sabitzer's going, Rabiot can replace Sabitzer, and then let's go out and sign the midfield sign that we want to get. And Moises Caicedo or Frankie de Jong and Enzo Lafite, I'm happy with it. But yeah, with Rabiot, it has to be Rabiot and then sign a great midfielder. If we just sign Rabiot midfield, that is not good enough for me because he's no better than Eriksen. He's no better than Eriksen. For me, 100%. The thing about Rabiot is he has been good for Juventus this season, and I would take him on a free. I would. But we need to sign Rabiot and someone else because Rabiot is an improvement on McTominay. Rabiot is an improvement on Sabitzer. Rabiot is an improvement on our bench option, is an improvement on our depth. But it's very much like if you sign Rabiot and another midfielder is a top summer. If we sign Rabiot and Moises Caicedo and Harry Kane and Kim Min Jae and Diogo Costa, that's a very good summer. But it's very much like Rabiot's a free transfer. He's like an Eriksen. If you sign Rabiot and another midfielder, I'm very happy with that. I think that's good. Kim Min Jae and Ji-sung Park were the same high school. I mean, I think Kim Min Jae would have grew up watching United when Ji-sung Park was there. And I think, Koreans are very loyal. A lot of the Korean sports support Spurs now, but back in the day, a lot of the Koreans supported United, and Kim Min Jae would have been that Korean age range when they support United. So the rumours that Kim Min Jae has decided to join United could have some truth because he could be a United fan watching Ji-sung Park. United in a good position, set to get top 4. Ten Hag doing very, very well. I do think with Kim Min Jae, if we don't get top 4, if we somehow bottle it from here, could be some problems. But I believe with Kim Min Jae, it's just don't bottle it from here. Don't bottle top 4 from here. We'll be fine. I think if we get top 4, and we generally are in for Kim Min Jae, which I believe we are in, I think we've got a good chance of getting him. But I don't think anything can happen until we can sort this takeover out. And unfortunately, United taking their sweet time with this takeover, United in this takeover has been a big pain in the arse. If I was to really describe it, it's just been dragging on. It's just boring to talk about. I hate that. Like my videos for the last 6 months have almost all been takeover central videos because I'm absolutely bored of it. I'm so bored of this takeover. I just cannot be bothered anymore with it. But it is what it is. I'm just going to make sure there's no more news coming out before I end the live stream on the takeover or on the transfer front. Let's have a look. Doesn't look like anything's coming out. That's a very nice kit. But money to the Glazers. Just the Kim Min Jae story, really. There's no big news coming out here as well. Access to the Asian market's a nice bonus. Such quality set back like Kim Min Jae, yeah. And the Glazers could just be like, oh, if they're not that, hopefully they're not staying. But the Glazers are very much like the Asian market. If you sign a big Asian player, you get a lot of Asian fans come support United. Fans bringing money to United. So from a commercial point as well, Sutton has helped Tottenham Hotspur commercially a lot. Kim Min Jae, big Asian player to United. I tell you this now, if there was a big Chinese player coming through that was young and was going to be a Chinese superstar and United signed him, the whole of China would just become United fans. It's almost like there's almost the marketing side of things as well. But anyway, people, I'm going to wrap up today's live stream here. Please do smash that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. Share the video. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, takeover news and more, make sure you subscribe. There will be a video tomorrow morning on the news that comes out tonight and tomorrow morning. If any breaking news comes out, there'll be a video tonight. So if you want all the latest on the takeover, all the latest on the transfer front, and just general United news, watch longs, match reactions, do subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Smash like. See you on the way out, and bye.